Okay, so I'm joined by Alice and Blake of the fantastic duo Lake Malice. So first of all, how you guys doing?
Cheers, mate. Fantastic duo. I
Fantastic.
like that.
Guys,
I
doing
like
good.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, we're
I
fine.
think we're good. I think we're good. Sorry, there's a dog very loudly having a dinner behind me. So
So sorry.
probably if you can hear that, I do apologize.
Don't worry about it
Sounds
at all.
mental.
Just smash the ball like that.
So sorry. Yeah,
Sorry.
such professional beginning to your interview. I do apologize, Damian.
That's fine. Not a problem
Yeah,
at
no.
all.
I think we're
So
good. We're a little bit I don't know, like speak for both of us, but like feeling like because we're kind of like in the middle of album number one, kind of like production and recording, and you know, kind of print final touches alongside like the beginning of quite a busy festival season and day jobs. So feeling a little bit spread thin, if I'm honest with you, but
yeah,
trying to trying to
do you know
stay
what?
positive.
I can fully relate to that, and you've already touched on the fact that there's an album coming, which is something I'll tell you what we'll chat about that in a bit because that's something I'm always fascinated by when a band has released quite consistently singles, EPs, and there's me going. The old school me going, I need an album. Where's the album? But that's just me, and I fully get the whole day job thing as well. So I've just finished work and turned my other laptop on. So it's one of these things. So I do want to start off to talk about like the last single you released, Scatterbrain. So for the record, absolutely top notch. I've really been digging that one. And now I understand it addresses things such as disillusionment. I can't say that word. Disillusionment in today's society. Now, the tune does sound like it's got quite a lot to say, but can you give me a little more detail on this? Because I'll be honest, I try and listen to the lyrics and I get lost in the catchiness of it. So,
That's a good thing, I guess. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a song that came out of burnout experiences, and oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's about definitely about burnout, overload in terms of like mental, physical, and I think like a lot has to deal with. I mean, I hope people can relate to it. For us, I think personally, it's been about splitting ourselves between two lives. One is the day job, and the other one is the music and the dream, following that kind of illusion, as you say. But I guess yeah, reality has that kind of violent way of bringing you back to the ground, and having to deal with lots of like things that, I mean, in the song, I clearly mentioned just daily stuff that is just about like replying to messages and um, just getting your daily shit done becomes sometimes, yeah, overwhelming. And I don't know, we often talk about like coming back from tour and wanting to have like a nanny in the house because yeah, because I think like when the mind is just overly charged with stimulation all the time, it's just very hard to like switch off and take care of yourself with the most super basic things, eating well, moving, all of those things, and get in touch and keeping social, in relationships. But I mean, there's a connection, a bigger connection, I think, to how fast society moves, I think, nowadays, and um, the fact that, yeah, it's all about having to grind, 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 and really not for any purpose right now, because, like, maybe generations in the past did that because they had the promise of this kind of, yeah, it was still a capitalistic reality, but you will get to own something. While now it really isn't like that anymore, so it starts to feel pointless. So yeah, there's definitely like that meaning behind it as well. There's like struggling to find the meaning behind all the hustle too. So yeah, I hope that's a good
no, it's
overview.
good. It sort of like gives me a bit more, like it helps me relate to it that little bit more. So me and the partner are trying to save up for to move out of the flat we have, and every time we think we've got enough, house prices have gone up, and we're like, all right,
Oh yeah,
so still going. So yeah,
yeah,
I can relate. Um,
yeah.
Now I wanted to ask, where did the sort of the 50s aesthetic come from for the actual music video? Because it you know, it really is quite cool, and it suits you quite well, actually, Alice. To be fair,
Nice.
not saying the housewife look suits you, but the 50s look suits you, just for the record.
Yeah, I'm owning it. Do you want to get this or do you want me
No,
to?
I think it's more
Is it?
you're a baby this idea. Yeah.
Don't blame on me. I think we were watching quite a lot of stuff. It came out of the blue. I think we were watching a show on Netflix called, is it Don't Worry, Darling? Um, that show, there's like Harry Styles in
Oh
it.
yeah.
And what kind of genre of show is that? Like a horror sort of thing? Well, in a way, it's a bit of a thriller horror kind of thing.
Yeah.
Set in the 50s, but then like turns out it's not the reality, is like a kind of virtual reality sort of thing. So we were watching this show and yeah, I just got a lot inspired. So I started watching so much stuff from the 50s. Watch like Marilyn Monroe's movies because like I guess the visual aspect to it in a way allowed us to add like an extra layer to the meaning of the song, which is, gender inequality in a way, and like how that, is supposed to be different nowadays and is not. And I just thought it was quite tongue in cheek to put something set in an era where, those daily things that now you struggle to do were literally a woman's job full time. So I thought like, yeah, let's just give it a try. And because we're watching some stuff that, was along those lines, it kind of did 2 plus 2 and
Yeah.
put that together really.
I think we quite like the sort of juxtaposition between the lyrical content being about
Super modern.
modern, like kind of like, oh, I can't text you back and stuff like that. But the visually, there's this contrasting reality where this person wouldn't know what texting is. It's set obviously
Yeah,
set in the 50s, and I think we quite like playing with those two. Sort of going to say that word again, juxtaposition.
I like that word.
Word
Can't
of
even pronounce it.
the day from Lake Malice there.
Juxtaposition.
Yeah, so that's quite fun, I think, to do.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like you say, I think that we sort of, as we delve deeper into this idea of could we set this in the 50s, we found more parallels, didn't we, between
Yeah,
what we wanted to do with visually, narratively around what washing and like spinning like a washing machine and
yeah, because I
um
mean, like all those things kind of stay the same, but now both, people in a relationship now work full time, whether it is, heterosexual or not. Like it's still, working full time and maintaining the house and maintaining survival kind of basic stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and also some stuff around kind of this loose narrative in the video of this medication we made up, right?
Mm.
Serena tabs.
Serena
Um,
tabs.
yeah, and that kind of that I feel like that fits in there as maybe a sort of a slight nod to coping mechanisms and and what's maybe the path that society kind of pushes people towards in terms of coping, which isn't really solving the problem at all.
Yeah, it's more like putting a plaster on it,
Yeah.
literally. So it was the same with like medication for anxiety and all of that. Yeah, does that as well.
Well, it is a really cool video. So, I was watching it just before
Mhm.
this because I was just like, and all I remember from, well, not all I remember from it, one of the things I just remember, I was like, they've got a Smeg, what was it?
Yeah,
The Smeg
Meg,
freezer fridge. And I was like, I've always wanted one of them. And that's the
they've been around
silliest,
since the 50s, like
yeah. So yeah, that if I could take away anything from that, I was like, you've got one of my dream appliances in there, and that's one of the things I know I'm getting older that I'm like, I want that appliance, not I want it now.
honestly, I had
Um,
this.
I hope
so
we
I
get some.
first sort of discovered you guys a few years back. I think it was 2003 when you supported Bloodywood. Now, I'm a big fan of trying to get in early to see support acts, and I'll be honest, I'm really glad I did because you played a stonking show, uh, and it was a good birthday present to me. It was the 30th of March, my birthday, and I was like, I've discovered a new band that I'm really digging. So, first of all, thanks for that. Um,
Happy
now,
belated
what?
birthday.
Oh, thank you. Actually, yeah, it's just been as well, hasn't it? It's just dawned on me. I did nothing for my birthday. It was everything I dreamed it to be. Literally stayed in, watched TV, didn't turn any laptops on. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, but the question really is, when did you sort of realize, because you have broken through like to a bit more of a mainstream level. When did it sort of dawn on you that you have broken through that first barrier, as it were, and you were starting to gain traction with your band? And what was that feeling like?
Um, hmm,
Interesting question. Yeah, I don't know if it like ever like strictly feels like that way from like our perspective, I guess. But like, I
mm,
mean, I suppose like what there is like a level that we get that we're fortunate enough to sort of be at that is, sort of further along than than many other bands in our scene, which is really nice. And I guess it's a gradual thing, isn't it? It's like I mean, from my perspective, it's almost like the more you grind, the more that you sort of, make sure that you're taking as many of the sort of the offers that come your way as possible and putting yourself out there as much as you can. The more you do that, the more naturally, sort of organically that it grows, and the industry kind of acknowledges that. I think that you're organically building this sort of growth around you, and it sort of leads you towards sort of stepping up very slightly. Like when we first started playing shows, we were like playing at the Apple and Parrot for Burn It Down Festival, and then last year we were like the main stage, and it's that kind of like you see that growth kind of over the years where you kind of get these slightly better slots at shows, and um and you see it reflect in sort of your social numbers a little bit. Maybe not, it's a bit more harder to sort of measure that for that particular um, view. But like, yeah, it's I don't know, like it's
yeah, I
just a
guess it's
gradual
hard.
thing, isn't
Yeah,
it? So it's
it's
like
not an overnight thing, especially if you're
yeah,
not like a viral sensation and if you're not like coming from a lot of money. I think like the organic growth is like very gradual, very slow, but also is very authentic at the same time. Like most of the people that follow us probably saw us live, so like it's a kind of old school way of like building an audience. And we do obviously run our campaigns from time to time, but the big bulk of it came from playing live. So and I think over time it's hard to measure as well, because until you play headline shows, and you have to do that like once in a while to see where you're at. And the last one we did was last year, was amazing. But yeah, you just don't know where you're at until you get to the next one, in a way. Like you just don't know. It's almost
yeah,
like your value is set to, well, how many tickets are you selling as a headline act, right? So yeah, I don't know. I never had that moment of like,
I
it's
mean,
good.
when we do get good offers for it, that we're like, if like,
Yeah,
for
blown away.
example, like when we went on tour with an artist called Rory and played some like really iconic venues around the
Yeah,
country that I've always been on my bucket list, and moments like that, you go to yourself like
yeah,
this is an interesting moment, really in our sort of careers and
yeah,
within our aspirations as
definitely.
as being artists in the alternative project to get to do go and play metal music and rock music and in some of these
Yeah,
massive venues
yeah,
yeah, Connection Town Forum and stuff like that. That is something that I'll never take for granted, and it's hard to believe almost that we were in that
mm,
position to do that. But and it's you get a little bit you can easily feel like quite a lot of imposter syndrome, but
mm.
at the
You get
same
in your
time we
head.
also do recognize that we have worked really hard, haven't we, over the last, since we started playing shows in beginning of 2022, we've had some pretty tough years of having to just grind really and hold down day jobs and just, get in debt and get ourselves out there as much as possible. And I do feel like we've put the work in.
Yeah, and it's the reality for a lot of artists anyway. So
Yeah.
it's nothing new or anything, but yeah, it is the way it is, definitely. Mm.
Well, hopefully my little thing gives you a bit of an epiphany that I personally think that you've broken through one of those barriers. So
Thank
that's my view on that at least.
you.
Um, Now, you've already mentioned Rory, because you have just come off tour with Rory and as December Falls, and that tour was actually quite a celebration for Rory and everything that she'd actually accomplished. What was it like actually being on tour, on that tour, especially with Rory, who's actually become quite a big inspiration for quite a lot of people? What was that tour like for you guys?
Yeah, it was incredible experience. Absolutely very different from before, because it was the first or one of the first audiences that was a bit different. It was memorable the first show that we did. Bless her, she welcomed us with this like box of donuts, and then she came into our green room and she was like, "Guys, I must tell you, this audience might not be used to circle pits." So like, just so you know, it was quite interesting because yeah, we were the kind of heaviest act on the bill, and opening as well was quite like a challenge. But yeah, we came up with these kind of conga pits, which were a bit more inclusive, and people did them and they had fun, and it was. I mean, she sold out so many shows that are like crazy size shows from what like 3 years playing to 250 people. That's a super inspiring story, sorry, and like yeah, just in awe of everything she's done and she's built every day. It's been a unique experience. Yeah, amazing. And the venue size, like every venue was fantastic to have the space just to express ourselves
And it felt like a
yeah,
really open-minded, like, tour, right? In
very.
terms of the demographics of people coming along, they're super
Mhm.
open-minded and a really like welcoming, inclusive space. And it was. I think that was probably my biggest takeaway, right? Is that it
Yeah,
was just such a diverse and inclusive space.
yeah.
Uh, and I guess some scenes can feel a bit gatekeepy. Sometimes I'm not naming any bands in particular, but like certain types of music and certain scenes can feel a bit like elitist almost in terms of what to
Oh yeah.
expect. And yeah, there was nothing, none of that, was it? It was just like everyone was just there to have a really good time. And we had to like change our approach a little bit because like we kind of get our like affirmation that we're doing a good show if we see people like pitting and like
Moving, yeah.
jumping around going crazy, but it wasn't necessarily an audience that wants to participate in that way, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
It was like we had to
Kind of
adapt a
worked
little bit.
around it, yeah.
Yeah, so now we're doing conga pits, and even the last show we had a
Chicken pit.
chicken pit.
Yep, we're
Exactly.
doing them all.
You're gonna have to elaborate a bit on the chicken pit because I was gonna say like the conga pit. Like I've been to so many like gigs in my years, and that was quite fun to watch from like the balcony in Hammersmith. I did enjoy that, and I was like, this is kind of unique. It's like that you guys have sort of found something that you can get people to do. All bands seem to do the go to the floor and jump up these days, the wall of death and all of that. A conga pit, which is own it, take that. That's yours now officially. But I need to know what this chicken pit is.
I don't know, I just feel like if I was going to a metal show for the first time and I felt like a bit frightened, if somebody said conga, I'd feel a bit like, oh well, I could do conga. Like I've never done a pit, but conga is easy. Now the chicken pit was just like a silly idea for this underground festival that we played last weekend. I just want people to have fun and do something a bit different. Like, and also the songs are, they're quite dark, they're quite heavy. We just wanted to kind of lighten up the mood and
I
even though
think
you're
we're
doing
we're
something like
entering a bit. We're entering an era of just trying ridiculous ideas now,
an
aren't
error
we?
of not giving a fuck, basically.
Anything,
Just
anything in a normal circle pit, basically.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
So if you come to a show and Alicia asks you to be a chicken, like don't be surprised. Basically, it's what I'm
or a
saying here.
dinosaur. Well, I mean, yeah, we're just experimenting and seeing how far we can take it with people. Like trying to have fun, make it like an enjoyable night for more people, than just the usual few at the center.
I also feel like you're less likely to get hurt in a chicken pit than a
Yeah, because you're
circle
too
pit.
busy chickening.
Maybe.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Safe.
I don't know.
Chicken is safe.
We'll see.
Now, before I move on to the next question, like Blake just said something, and I feel I've pronounced your name wrong when I first introduced you. Have I done that?
I
Uh,
mean, she does respond to Alice.
I do, and yeah,
I used to call her Alice, and then one day she was
I
like, "Actually, it's Alice." So
I don't even know that's
I
not
wouldn't feel any guilt around that at all.
done. Yeah, no, no, no.
She
It's
sets
Well,
people up so she can correct them later.
that's it.
well, I should know. I should have like that should have dawned on me because Blake said it, and then I was like, I interviewed yourself at 2003, 2023 download, and that's when you told me, and I've realized it's just dawned back on me. So apologies right here.
No, no,
I remember for next time.
no
Now,
offense.
you've got quite an impressive summer coming up. You know, you've got Germany, Spain, festivals here in the UK as well. Um, as I said, it's quite an impressive and probably quite knackering thing, schedule ahead of you. So, firstly, when it comes to the UK, which festival are you actually most looking forward to? And then the European festivals, which one are you most looking forward to? I'm not going to ask you to pick which one you prefer, home turf or abroad, because I would throw the UK under the bus and go, I'm looking forward to Germany. I've been to Wacken and those Germans know how to party.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Shall I
definitely.
do the European one, you do the UK one, or vice versa?
Okay.
Go on then, you go first.
Well, that's easy. I think like it's slam dunk in the UK because we've been looking at that lineup for so long, and even just before me being musicians, it's just like a kind of thing that as kids, just slam dunk is just yeah, kind of dream coming true. Yeah, I went like quite a few years before, like just to see bands playing, and yeah, it's quite surreal to be on the lineup and yeah, opening Kerrang stage and all that. That's the one that I am super excited about. Obviously, all the festivals we got, even the smallest one, like they're so well organized sometimes, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to like
So
um
unorganized sometimes.
exactly. Well, yeah, definitely. Like,
Nah.
some of them are really, really good in terms of organization. And like, let's be honest, the UK is not like at the forefront of like treating musicians like the best way sometimes. But yeah, you get surprised when some of these independent festivals coming up. Like, we're gonna play this new festival arranged by the frontman of While She Sleeps, called Shredler in Sheffield. So that's another one that I'm really excited about. But yeah, there's tons of them, but
There's too many,
the
isn't there?
highlights,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's hard to pick any one particular really. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like Slam Dunk would be wicked because it goes back to what we were saying earlier about like kind of those moments where
The,
you're like, oh, are we broken through a little bit, you know? But I mean, I don't necessarily know if it means that, but I mean, as a music fan, it's like, you know, that's a goal in it to see your band on the lineup for a festival like Slam Dunk because pretty legit. But yeah, like I mean, Wacken's going to be pretty mad, I reckon.
mm,
It's pretty big, isn't it?
that's crazy.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
crazy.
sorry, is it Wacken or Wacken?
Vakin?
Gonna
Vakin?
get annihilated
I've
for saying
always
it wrong.
just said Wacken, or you could
Oh,
put throw the
Oh,
V into it and like Vacken, you know.
well, maybe
Wacken.
I
it's
don't know
no.
if
Yeah, maybe
We
it's
spent
just
like
assumed. I
over
don't
a
know.
month on the road with a German band. We should probably know
We
how to
shouldn't know.
say that. But yeah, I mean that and Resurrection Fest and all. I
Mm.
mean, and Rock for People. I mean, they're all going to be good, aren't
You
they?
just can't say one, yeah.
Yeah, but you are right though. It's going to be like chaos because we're going to be flying around probably all over the place trying to get to these shows in time. But
Yeah,
that
we
should
probably
be
look 10 years older by then.
yeah, well, yeah. Be fully great.
well, hopefully, I know you're playing 2000 Trees as well, so it's either going to be Slam Dunk or 2000 Trees. I'm going to make a point of trying to catch you guys at a festival because I'll always be stuck interviewing people, and half the time I don't get out. So who knows? We might even have another chat at some point at the festival, and I can throw my festival themed questions at you. We'll see.
Of course, yeah.
Um, Now, last year you released a collaboration with Blackout Problems, Quicker Than Death. I'm always fascinated to ask if you could collaborate with absolutely anyone, sky's the limit. Who would you love to collaborate with? And they might not even be alive anymore. You could go all the way back to a 50s singer, for example.
Ooh. You want to take this one?
Oh, you do it.
Probably say the same as you, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Should we say at the same time who we're thinking? Or you think of one. Think of someone and I'll think of
Oh,
someone.
oh
And we'll say it
God.
at the same time. Yeah?
Okay.
You got someone?
Yeah.
On three, yeah? One, two, three.
Limp
Linkin Park.
Bizkit.
Oh,
Wow.
so close.
So
I'm
I
just
got Linkin Park and Liche,
That's
did
a
you
Limp Bizkit.
say Limp Bizkit?
That- That's hilarious. Well, it starts with the same letter, right?
Same,
L.
same letter. So that'd be
Uh,
quite cool, actually. I could see Limp Bizkit working quite well. Linkin Park actually as well. But the question I'm going to ask about Linkin Park, are we talking Chester era or Emily Anderson era?
oh,
Good
I
question.
mean, I've got nothing against the new lineup really, but I grew up with Chester, and he was such an inspiration to me, huge. I was obsessed when I was like 11, 12 years old. Like that, those are the years where you just can't just yeah, yeah, the obsession and the emotion is really, really at its highest peak in your life, and I just can't forget that kind of emotion. It's just associated with him, I think, and his voice and his songwriting. So
Yeah,
it
that's
would
fair.
be it would be definitely Chester, unfortunately.
Well, the next question I want to ask, and it's you've already mentioned you're working on an album, which for an old guy like me, like that makes me absolutely delighted. But I've been asking this question a lot because I am fascinated by people's thoughts behind it. The way, we as people consume music these days through streaming services and online. I mean, we don't carry a CD player or a tape deck anymore. Like we've got all on our phones. Do you think, the actual physical release of an album is one, still necessary? And do you think it's a dying, breed of media, for example?
Interesting.
Do you want me to-
I think it's definitely different, right? Like the way people consume is definitely different. I think it's still got a place, personally.
I Yeah, I think it's like a generational thing maybe. Well, but who knows? I mean, I will need to see some data about this.
What your opinion?
Well, my opinion is that, well, like according to what I'm seeing, there's definitely space for physical media because of the overwhelming choice that you've got, and because of like I don't know, maybe it's like a nostalgia thing and generational thing as well, where you've got like lots of people like maybe growing up with CDs, even if it's not vinyl. Like there's a part of the audience that still wants to have something, yeah, something physical, tangible.
I mean, like, are we talking about like a physical thing though? Because an album can still be a digital product, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking is like, I mean, I
True.
I don't necessarily know if like physical media is like the worth the investment these days for bands that aren't touring, because like
I get what you mean,
because
yeah.
we do like kind of rely on things like vinyl and be able to sell merch, but if we weren't a touring band, I don't know if we would do anything physical really. I don't
Mm.
know, like, but sorry, dog's ripping something up. Just getting there. But yeah, like, I don't know, like for me, discovering bands, I think most of the time, to get fully invested into a band and be like, right, I'm definitely a fan and I'm gonna, you know, like go and see this band play live and all that sort of stuff. Like I do probably need like a body of work to convince me and get me into it because,
But
I
does it
don't know.
have to be physical?
Oh, I don't think so. I
Mm. Mm.
don't think it has to be physical, but
I do end up
I
buying
do.
physical, just the artists that I really, really like. I get obviously physical
Mm,
copies and stuff like that. I think it's more like a collection thing rather than, because I don't even, I mean, yeah, I have a record player, but I don't really listen to them a lot. So it's more like and I guess being inside of it, I know it supports them in a way. So I
yeah.
don't know if, yeah, the mentality might not be the same as you are as a musician, obviously, when you're not on this side. So
Mm.
yeah, it's hard to tell, to predict.
Yeah, I don't. There's loads of like pros and cons in there. It's definitely like a landscape now where you don't have to do that route, right? And you do see lots of artists not going down that route and still having different degrees of success. So I definitely don't think it's like a one sort of size fits all kind of approach to how you release, really. But I think for some types of artists, maybe you can get by without an album if you just release constantly and you know, like the Spotify algorithm, the various sort of, streaming platforms, they tend to just put your stuff in some sort of algorithmic playlist anyway. So
Mm,
yeah, it would be interesting to know how many people are like sessioning albums
album
still.
listeners.
But
Yeah.
it does feel like a lot of listeners are kind of just letting these algorithmic playlists happen to them and skipping the ones they don't want to hear. And that's certainly changing so much, isn't it, about the way that we
Mm,
write, the way we create and release, and the pressure on artists to constantly deliver content, essentially.
yeah.
Music can be such a disposable kind of piece of content, it feels like in this current day and age, and I like to really take our time with our stuff and make sure that we're releasing things we fully believe in. And but as soon as you release the song, it's like, right, what's next? You know,
Yeah.
as soon as we release the album, it's like, right, what's next? But yeah, I think for me personally, I do like having a body of work that I can, you know, immerse myself in, because it enables you to it enables you to fully understand that artist's vision, I think, and who that artist is, you know, in terms of their musical identity. And I don't know if you can always do that entirely with a 3 minute, 4 minute song. You know, you do need a body of work.
Well, it's a good answer actually. I enjoyed that one because I always think about what happened with me. My local record store shut down, and yes, I could buy the album from Amazon or I could just hit play. And I realized I got forced into the download generation kind of unwillingly, and then I realized I don't actually own a CD player anymore, which
Right.
actually shocked me because I've got CDs on the shelf still in cellophane. I'm just like, but I think you're right. Partially it's a collection thing. So
Yeah, it is definitely.
yeah. Anyway, guys, I do really want to thank you for taking your time to chat to me today. Good luck with everything that's got you've got coming up. I think the last date is Wacken in July, so I think after that you definitely earned yourself some you time. So
Yeah.
Hope we survive.
Yeah,
you
We're
you'll
still
do
still
great.
here by
yeah.
then.
But thank you
Thank you.
so much, and
Thank you.
take care. See you later.
Thank
Take care,
you.
mate. Thank
Bye. Bye.
you.
Bye.
Cheers.